Hi guys, how's it going? I'm IAmPattyJack, and remember a few days ago when I made a video on a game called Infiltration? Well, in that video, I said it was going to come out on the 13th of this month. That seems to not be the case anymore. The game is now available, so of course I bought it and I played it. I beat the game in 23 minutes. We're going to talk about my experience, as well as some other stuff that's happened since I made my last video, so let's talk about Infiltration. I'm so excited. Infiltration is the next game developed by Ryu vs. Cloud, someone who has in the past been known for making asset-riddled nonsense. He also has the prestigious honor of owning the second lowest rated game of the year so far on my channel, which was Himiko. And seriously, when you can somehow be worse than bloody boobs, that's kind of an achievement. That would also coincidentally be the only achievement in this game, because so far, even though I beat the entire game, I have yet to receive a single one. But I digress. Now let's talk about some stupid internet drama. Yeah, so in lieu of the last video I made, I ended up taking all my evidence that I discovered in relation to the assets that the developer had used to make this game, and in some cases, possibly taken without permission involving things like music, over to the Steam forums. And what happened there? Well, not but a few minutes later, I was banned for absolutely no reason, other than the developer not wanting anyone to know about their dirty little misdeeds. No, seriously, they didn't even give me a reason. Usually they laugh at you or deny things, but nope, just blank, nothing. Cool, good to feel like I'm loved. They also did the same thing to my good buddy Mellow Online, who runs the Guardians of Greenlight and Sentinels of the Store Steam groups. By the way, shout out to those guys, they did a wonderful little write-up on the Steam group, and they even sent me some new things that I can use in this video. And believe me, I will. And this isn't the first time that Ryu vs. Cloud has acted like this. In fact, he's threatened to ban me from other Steam forums for his other games like Himiko in the past. So it's not like this is a big surprise to anyone, but at the same time, I need to mention it every time because, you know, that's silencing of critique. But what exactly were my critiques? Well, let's do a quick recap of what I said in the last video. Nearly everything in this game is a stock asset from a website called docs.unrealengine.com, which basically serves as Unreal's tutorial in how to make a video game using their engine and assets. Now, the ideal use of these tutorial websites is to show you how to make a game using the Unreal Engine and utilize a few basic functions so you can go on and make your own titles. It appears, though, that Ryu vs. Cloud would rather just take all that content and use it for himself. Nearly every single item, texture, animation, etc. in this game is available on that tutorial website. And while originally I thought they were just using the same character models, animations, gameplay elements, and assets, apparently it goes a little bit further. Now, in the last video, I showed off some footage from this sample cutscene from docs.unrealengine.com to show off that the developer was using the same location and the same character assets as this content. However, what I never expected in a million years is that the developer decided to use this exact cutscene in the game. What you're seeing is what I recorded while playing Infiltration. It has absolutely nothing to do with the rest of the gameplay, and the developer has done nothing to edit or change the content in any way, shape, or form. In fact, you never even see this location again, and there's no evidence that it connects to anything at all. So now that we know the developer is willing to do things like this, who's to say that anything in this game is their own original content? Also, special thanks to Sir Violent Death, who sent me a wonderful link to a Greenlight title by Ryu vs. Cloud. This was submitted back in April and went under the name Nuclear Underground Facility. It's got the same image used as the logo and quite possibly could be the same game, except it was removed from Greenlight but now found its way onto the Steam store under a different name entirely. I also talked about the developer's use of the logo for this game, which is in fact a stock image you can find in a variety of places on the internet that's being used on different websites and also has nothing to do with this game. And finally, in the last video, I talked about some music that's currently being used in the game that isn't being credited properly to the original artist. To quickly recap on that, basically Alex Lisi, the creator of the royalty-free track Tactics, is having his music used in this game without being credited, which he does require if anyone wants to use his content. I've sent an email off to Alex already, and he is aware of this, and he did thank me for letting him know, but now I've had to send him another email because the game is officially out and it's still utilizing his music. And once again, I've beat the game entirely already, I've seen the credits, he's not credited in there, and it's not mentioned anywhere on Steam. So what in blue bloody blazes is the gameplay like? Well, let's take you through an entire walkthrough of my experience in Infiltration. Infiltration starts you off in front of a giant red button that is also available on docs.unrealengine.com. On this stock asset main menu, you have many things you can interact with, including an options menu with no graphical settings, because the developer quite literally doesn't know how to implement those. Afterwards, you have a choice between one of 3 different game modes: the Prologue, Campaign, and Achievement Hunter. The Prologue is where the main game consists, as the campaign is not currently implemented despite this game not being in early access, but the developer states it will be out in 2018. And the Achievement Hunter version is the exact same game, except there's no character meshes on any of the models. So once you get into Infiltration, you're greeted with what I can only assume is literally the tutorial version that Unreal Engine wants you to create yourself so that you can figure out how to make things work in games. Like, you just walk through some hallways and then you interact with some things so that you can see if you put them in the game correctly and that they work when you use them. So during your travels in this Unreal Engine tutorial, you will once in a while be greeted by some haphazardly placed enemies, which can whittle down your health very quickly if you don't shoot them in the face. They don't really have anything to do with the setting you're in, and once again, are just models from the tutorial website itself. You'll also be opening up a variety of doors and drawers, which all have these weirdly not rendered handles on them that I guess the developer couldn't put in themselves, or they thought nobody would notice. Then you find a broken valve and put it back together so you can put it on a wall and put out a fire, which simultaneously does more for players than Valve itself ever has. Then you're greeted by a blank screen, followed by some very basic text announcing the next level. This entire level, by the way, consists of your character walking a few feet, and then the aforementioned earlier cutscene happens, and that's the end of that. All the characters and the location and everything just poof up into the atmosphere. No one's ever gonna see them again. On to the next level. Oh, hey, look, the enemies this time are wearing red trench coats, so that makes them totally different, right? So I eventually got bored of playing this game for realsies and decided to just turn on the God mode instead, because really, can you blame me? After that, I ran around the level for a little while and oh my god, are you fucking serious? You know, one thing that really shows skill when making a video game is knowing where to place enemies and how to do it so that they don't all mob you at once. This is the type of thing that I used to do when I was playing Age of Empires 2 as a kid. I'd just load into the map editor and place 1,000 war elephants and 1,000 villagers on the other team and watch the mayhem happen. The big difference is I'm not selling my war elephant massacre for real money. Also, if I'm not mistaken, this entire level design is literally just taking place in the testing region for the Unreal Engine tutorial. And then you do some god-awful platforming, which leads you to another room that has virtually the exact same thing as the first one. Then you platform again, and all of a sudden you're on to the next level. Also, it's about this time in the game that random unfinished models of what I assume are supposed to be the exact same enemies start showing up and making your entire game look like a Roblox commercial. And now it's on to the final level in the game. Yes, you heard me right, it is indeed the final level. And yes, you are correct in assuming it's once again a level available in the Unreal Engine tutorial. So you kill the enemies in the room for a while, then once they're all gone, you walk over to the elevator. Inside said room with said elevator, you find that big red button, that's the same one from the title screen, along with a notification telling you to change into this uniform before you get onto the elevator. Now, that's very curious. Why would you want to switch into a different outfit before? Well, the answer to that is after you push the big red button, which you should always do, it takes you to another cutscene that's available, yes, you guessed it right, on the Unreal Engine tutorial. And the game just plays the entire cutscene with a different character entirely, but they tried to convince you that it's the same character by saying, oh no, you switched into this suit before you got into that elevator. And it goes, 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 and it goes. Then the game ends. Yeah, that was about as abrupt as I could be about it, because the game ends just about as abruptly as well. But by golly, it's to be continued, and I'm sure the developer is hell-bent on making sure we get the best Infiltration experience we possibly can. And he even thanks us for playing, or rather, thank you for giving me money. So that's my experience with Infiltration. It's a pretty terrible game. I've now spent more time editing this video than it took me to actually beat the entire game. And at least 4 or 5 minutes of that involved the cutscenes that the developer didn't make, so, you know. Let's not do this again, people. Nah, who am I kidding? Stupid people will be stupid.